welcome to the final episode of the MT Larder, the musical theatre cooking show where our favourite takeaway is Aaron Burr-gers. Today's episode is pantomime themed and we're going to be making a savoury apple tart. We're supporting UK Black Lives Matter and the Theatre Support Fund. Now over to today's special guest.
Well, hello dears. Here I am, Dame Fanny Corona, amateur pancake toss runner-up, Blackpool 1973, all on my lonesome over lockdown. Now, I've not always been on my lonesome. Oh, no. I've been married several times. My first husband, he died from poisoned mushrooms. My second from a fractured skull. Well, he wouldn't eat the mushrooms. As for my third husband, he wasn't very passionate, so I went to the doctors and they gave me some of those little blue 007 pills. They made him Roger Moore. But I remember the very last words he said to me as he walked out the door. No, help, why are you pointing that gun at me? Now, as a chef, I've eaten a lot of strange food. I've even tried dog. Yes, I didn't intend to, but I'd swallowed a fly and things got out of control. I must say, though, I'm not a very good chef. In this house, I never say, guess who's coming to dinner? Because 9 times out of 10, it's the paramedics.
Time to meet today's bakers. Hello, peasants! It's me, the Queen of Hearts, and you're watching my new show, The Heart Tarts.
No, you're on the MT Larder.
What?
The MT Larder.
It's called the what?
The MT Larder.
The MT Larder.
Yep, that's the one.
Terrible name. Anyway, let's get cracking.
Hiya, I'm Emily. I'm from Handsworth, which is in Birmingham, and today I'm going to be making the Pantomime Savoury Apple Tart.
So, here are all my ingredients, yes. Now, you know I love a jam tart, but this one is a savoury tart. I wouldn't have chosen to do it myself, but you know, needs must to entertain the peasants.
So I've set out all of my ingredients all over the kitchen just here, and I'm just gonna preheat the oven to about 190 degrees. Just had to check that then.
Always best to double check.
Perfect. Right, so I'm just gonna roll out my pastry dough. Usually I would make it myself, but I was a bit lazy today and bought it from Asda. So I'm very sorry.
Nothing wrong with buying ready-made pastry.
I'm just going to roll this out and then we'll put it in the tart tray over there. It's not a real tart tray. We didn't actually have any, so it's just a circle one like this. So it won't have the pretty edges, but I'm sure it will taste just the same.
So I'm going to roll out my pastry that's already ready rolled. I'm going to do this nice and gently. Oh, there's a cat in my garden! Off with its head!
Your Majesty, hello, we're baking.
Pretty pity.
Hello, over here?
Sorry, I got distracted.
Thank you.
So we're going to... There's a few cracks, but it's okay. We're just going to give it a bit of love. Cover those cracks right up. Oh, this bit's very cracked. It's okay. I love you, dear. I love you. I don't say I love you to a lot of people. Now, you know who I do love? Paul Hollywood. There's a man, I tell you. Quite a firm grip.
Excuse me?
On his handshakes, I mean, obviously his handshakes.
I really love pantomimes. I think pantomimes are loads of fun. It used to be our little Christmas tradition with my grandparents to go and see the pantomimes every year at their little local theatre. And if we were lucky, we got to go and see a second one at the big theatre in Reading called the Hexagon, I think. So yeah, they were always very exciting. And now, for the last 5 years, my youth theatre, we always do a panto every year. So for the last 5 years, I've gotten to do a panto every Christmas, which is really fun because they're always loads of fun to be in, and they're always really bonkers, and all sorts of crazy things happen. And it's just some of the most fun ever.
You know, it's times like this where I wish that I wouldn't have beheaded my chef, you know. Quite a mouth on him he had. But you know, had to make him quiet. Off with his head. These people at the MT Larder, Terrible name.
Boo!
They gave me a few questions to answer whilst I was baking away. So, I believe the first question was about pantomime and what I love about pantomime. And the thing that I love about pantomime is so many people get to play me. Little old me. The world gets to see how fabulous I am. And if anyone brings me shame, well, off with their head.
Not egotistical at all then, Your Majesty.
We're now going to pop this into said pan. It's stuck. It's stuck, darling. Okay, we fixed it. Okay, in it goes. Oh dear. It's not going well at all. It's covered in cracks. We'll just cover it up. There we go. There we go. It's like it was never there. Oh, this is going very bad!
So I think that's done. I think this is all nice and rolled.
Oh, Emily's dangerous with a rolling pin.
Put the rolling pin down. I think that's all rolled out now. So this is the moment of truth. Ooh. Oh God. Oh no. Oh, I think it's alright.
Okay, so you want to put that into the fridge and refrigerate for about half an hour until it's firm, you know. Firm.
So just taking the dough out of the fridge. It was only meant to be in there for 30 minutes, but I might have left it in there for 3 hours. It's been a busy day. But I've just lined it with some greaseproof paper and filled it with some beans to weigh it down.
Beans, good for your tarts. The more you eat, the more you...
So I'm just going to pop these in the oven for 20 minutes. Without oven gloves, because I'm living life on the edge.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.
Ooh. Perfect. Done.
Okay, the recipe says blind bake for 20 minutes. Blind bake, well, you know, they say try everything once. Blind baking, here we go. Okay, blind.
No.
I can't see.
No, Your Majesty, no,
Where
that's
are they? Where are my
that's
cards?
not what it means.
I found them.
No,
Okay.
Take-
into the oven with the tarts. Blind baking.
take the towel off your head. No, off your head. You're gonna bump into the.
No. That's just pointless, isn't it? Into the oven they go. Oh, it's quite hot in there.
Yes,
Whoa.
ovens tend
Right,
to be hot,
this
Your
one.
Majesty.
I'm going to put this one on this shelf. Okay, so we leave those in there for 20 minutes and we don't look because we're blind. And whilst we're waiting for that to do, I'm going to go on Tinder.
Doubt anyone swipes right on you.
Okay, see you in 20 minutes.
Okay, so I just took the tarts out and took all the beans off them and then put them in for another 10 minutes. So I'm just putting the butter and olive oil in a pan so we can cook the onions just now. So I've put it on about number 6, which I think is about medium heat. I might turn it down to number 5 if it gets a bit too hot.
Okay, so the next step is we're going to take a tablespoon of butter, a tablespoon of olive oil, we're going to pop it in the pan, mix it together and have it on a medium heat. So, tablespoon of butter. Boop. We'll get a little bit more, that was not quite a tablespoon. And a tablespoon of this olive oil. If I can open it.
Having trouble there, Your Majesty?
Those child-proof caps, isn't it?
Definitely keeping you out
Bear
then.
with. Bear with.
Bearing. 3 hours later.
Bear with.
An eternity later.
Bear with.
I think my favourite pantomime is probably Cinderella because it's the first pantomime I actually ever saw on stage. I was with my grandparents. I think I was probably about 4 or 5. And it's also the first pantomime that I was ever in, which is quite nice. And it's the first show I ever had a lead role in. So I think I'm quite sentimentally attached to it. But yeah, that was a really good fun show. I really enjoyed that. I got to play Soapflake, the fairy godmother's boss, which was quite fun. So I think I'm just going to tip the onions in. It was quite a big onion, and the recipe did say a small onion. So I'll just kind of put a bit of it in and hope for the best. Or I'll just put all of it in, because the more the merrier. So that'll be fine, right?
I've got my Jester short butts here. Cutting up my cheese because, you know, I don't want to get my hands all cheesy. No, not at all. My hands get cheesy when they go elsewhere anyway.
She means her feet, guys. She means her feet.
Taking them out the oven. Ooh. Okay, oh, I've got really crisp. Okay, so up they come. We're not going to burn fingers this time. That is not going to happen. Ha! Burn fingers.
Spoke too soon there.
Onto the wire rack. That goes back in. This one comes out. Onto the wire rack. Close oven. And now we need to turn down our oven to about 180. 180! Okay!
So I'm just now going to take the tarts out the oven. Oh, it's a bit warm.
Everything going much smoother in Emily's
Here we
kitchen.
are. Got the first one. Just run them over to the rack. And then number 2. Oh, knocked it out. Beautiful. Oh, the oven's not closed. So I'll just leave those to cool over there. And then I think the onions are getting on quite well, so they'll hopefully be cooked soon. I've also mixed the creme fraiche and the mustard together, ready for when they are cooled down.
Get it nicely mixed, because what we're going to do with this is we're going to spread it on top of the pastry. And we need to make sure that it's nice and evenly done.
What do you call mustard you thought you'd already bought? Dijon vu.
There we go, that's nice and mixed together. So I'm going to go and get the tins now with the thing in.
So we had a little bit of a disaster. The onions might have got a little bit burnt and we set the fire alarm off in the house.
Oh dear.
But it's okay, I've opened a window. We've resurrected the situation. It's fine. I'm just putting the creme fraiche and mustard on the bottom of the tarts now. Moving on and ignoring the burnt onions, but it's okay. They're not that burnt. They're all right. We've saved them, and we're just moving on, moving swiftly forwards to this. I'm just going to put as well half of the cheese and half of the thyme onto the bottom or into the tarts as well, and then we save the rest for after we put the onions on, I think. So yeah, just sprinkling that in. Lovely stuff. Sprinkle a bit more. I think I've used a bit more than half of the cheese, but that's okay. And then a little bit of thyme as well, just sprinkle that on. Perfect.
We're gonna chop this up, and this is going to be placed on top of our tarts. Now, I'm not very fond of apples, but my good friend Evil Queen, she loves a good apple. She loves a bad apple too. So we've got our little bit of thyme, so we're just gonna sprinkle some of that on top. Just not too much because we want to use some of it for garnishing a bit later. That's probably enough for that one. I'm just going to do the other one, which is just over here.
You know, when I was cooking last night, I was going to garnish my food, but I ran out of time.
There we go. Got a tiny bit more on this one. and we'll use the rest for garnishing. Okay, so now we need to put the apples on top. I have done an extra apple because I thought it would be nice to have some more apple, and therefore we've got 1 apple on each one.
They're not too bad. They're quite bad. It's fine. We'll just sprinkle these on the top. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'll just not use the really burnt ones.
They'll just be crispy onions.
Oh dear. We've run out of onions as well, but I think it should be okay. They look alright.
And now we're going to add our cheese. Quite a lot of cheese left over. Go. Same on this one. This is getting a bit messy. Get all that cheese on. And now we're just going to finish it by putting the last little bit.
No, not yet, Your Majesty.
We're not going to put that on yet. No. We're going to put it in the oven now for about 10 minutes, I believe. So we're going to pop these in the oven. Yep, 15 minutes. We're going to pop these in the oven for about 15 minutes. Then I'll get back to you. Okay.
Now, time to head back over to Dame Fanny Corona. So, what is your favourite part about being in pantomime?
Now, over the years, I've been involved in many pantomimes, from Robin Hood and Cinderella to Aladdin, Dick Whittington and Jack and the Beanstalk. And I've always been the fit one. You see, pantomime, it's a wonderful experience for all those involved. You see, it's the first time that many young children will get to experience live theatre. And it really does get you in the mood for Christmas. And it's full of everything you want in a show, from song and dance to slapstick, jokes, and me, and so much more.
I'd now like to introduce today's new writer and also our special guest from the Legally Blonde episode. Here is Graham Lappin with his incredible production of The Rise. Enjoy.
The Rise is an original musical. It's about family, hope, progress, and the importance of passing on tradition through generations. I wanted to write something based in the north, where I'm from, and with this being my first musical, I wanted to keep it really simple. So I picked a time period where I had to be quite spare and quite simplistic in my choices musically and lyrically, and in the story. Actually, it's a very simple story about 7 characters and their life in the turn of the century in a North Manchester town. The show follows one eventful day in the lives of 2 families, the Roaches and the Brownings, who both live in the same fictional northern town. The Roaches run a bakery, the Brownings run a laundry. Both small businesses try to survive in the face of ever-increasing industry in the northwest. And we see their struggles, their dreams, their disappointments, and hopefully watch as they are challenged and rise above those challenges.
This black sheep couldn't sleep. Some things you earn, its violets turn to fly away. Just for the
fist and finally put these hands to use.
Cause then at least I'd know there's passion in you somewhere, and you must be worth abiding, even if that little boy is hiding underneath your skin.
That boy's a man who's not afraid to get his hands stuck in.
If that were true, you'd still be down there learning what to do.
You've got some nerve to be so hateful. Looking at you, I'd be grateful. There's a man who wants to take your hand at all.
Look out of that window. What can you see?
The street?
That's what Wilfred'd say. Oh, your dad. Try again.
I can see the glow of the lights at the end of the alley from the pub on Gladwell Road. The moon just coming out, and Mr. Latchford's pigeons returning to his loft, and the tops of the trees on Halewood Park waving over the roofs across the street.
That's more like it. Now, look past it.
You can't.
You can.
Trying to fit in is boring, ignoring what sets us apart. If difference can mean our beginning, then this boy who is different can start. This boy's freak show, it's the audience who's ugly, and at this boy's freak show, all the beauty stands on stage. You might think it's bleak though, for a misfit such as me, to see this crazy scheme succeeding. Daydream while my nose is bleeding. 5 legs and a lizard face, and lots of breathing space. A turban's freak show is a perfect freak show, a perfect place. You've just said that when you're young you expect everything will go to plan. Well, I don't. I don't expect anything to go to plan, ever, because it never does.
Not so far, it ants. And maybe that fact alone will tell you something.
But what about...
And don't think for a moment your father will have the slightest objection. He wants what's best for you, whether he ends up with an heir to his significant empire or whether he doesn't.
Thanks, Mrs. Browning.
Oh. Stop your nonsense.
And for what it's worth, you do have someone, you know. You're not alone. You have Herbert. And unlike me, he's got his mam. I'd give anything for that.
I started writing The Rise in 2016, and it sort of came out of nowhere. There was this song that just arrived called Tomorrow's Bread, and I had the image of this girl sitting on the steps, looking down into the cellar, watching her dad baking bread, and wishing she could help him, but knowing that he wouldn't let her.
Your great-grandfather's mixing bowl, a tarnished spoon that once shone bright as black porter, a jug for adding water. Why can't you show your daughter how she wants to learn the mysteries? Please, I look and learn, but you don't see. You want to pass it on, well, pass it on to me, while Samuel just ignores you. You ignore that I adore to watch your private magic show. Hello. You speak of futures, Dad. Well, where is mine? Am I allowed to wander from this one straight line that I'm supposed to stay on? And if I even stray one bit, would that be really all that bad?
And that was the initial image, and that sort of opened out into the rest of these characters and the story they tell. Finished the show last summer, 2019, and we did the first full rehearsed reading in January here in Manchester at the Royal Northern College of Music. And hopefully now what's going to happen is someone's going to take it on and produce it.
We've got the same magician's eyes. I understand the things you say. And Dad, tomorrow's bread could be the prize that I'd wake up to every day.
Now let's go back into the kitchen.
So the tarts have been in the oven now for about 10 minutes, so it's time to get them out because they're now finished, which is really exciting. So here, oh, they smell really nice. That's good, that's a good sign, they smell nice. So here they are. Ta-da!
Amazing!
They don't look super beautiful, but I'm sure they'll taste fine, and I'm very excited to eat them because they do smell really nice.
So we've had a bit of a catastrophe here.
Oh no.
So we're going to just try and put all this back in and put it in the oven and hope for the best. Yes, my jester is going to be beheaded. Off with her head!
Boo! These look fab. Not so much that one.
And that's how you make a savoury apple tart, but I'm going to eat a jam tart. Stay safe. Wash your hands. See you later.
But yeah, I really enjoyed making these tarts today. Hopefully maybe I'll make some more tarts in the future, which is quite exciting. But yeah, so thank you very much and goodbye!
Thank you for watching today's episode of the MT Larder, and thank you for watching the whole series. We've had such a brilliant time putting this together, and we hope you've had so much fun watching. Thanks for joining. Remember, stay safe, keep baking.
Right, look, the pub's open in 20 minutes, so I've got to go. It's just left for me to say, keep safe, wash your hands, and keep baking. So until Christmas, it's toodle pip from me, my darlings. Bye!